So now we're going to talk about the cost, okay? We're going to talk about how do we start reviewing all our statements. Like literally, you're going to start going line by line. You're going to take a deep dive in all your statements. You're going to review it literally line by line. And then as well as hopefully you have something like a forecasting template. Like I have a template that I use that I built off of a really good friend of mine a long time ago that I use that I will forecast cash flows for it. It's not the exact P&L statement that you get from your accountant at tax time and stuff. It's a forecasting template, and I will do my cash flow analysis on this, where there's some issues, where's some red lights, some green lights, some yellow light. So I hope you have your forecasting templates, and I hope you're on top of your numbers. So if you're on top of all these things, here's a couple things that you might want to look at. Is literally go line by line. Ask the question, okay? Like ask some questions like, at a question that I just had about maybe here's what you say, when cash flow is really, really good, right? And you're doing really well, maybe there's a few things that just kind of you let slide, right? You let slide a bill that comes through and you just say, well, cash flow is good. Maybe you're complacent. But during this time when cash flow is tight, you get really vigilant. You look literally line by line. You start asking those questions. You ask more questions. I had one example just recently about a bill that I received on changing furnace filters. And I just said, I'm not even going to, it was $165 to change furnace filters, which is quite ridiculous. Okay. So I'm going to go back to the property manager. I'm not just going to go berate them, say, look, you suck, all you garbage, I'm firing you today. No, let's have a conversation now. Please let me know, am I misreading this? Am I really reading this that it was $165 to change furnace filters? Was there more in that I should see? Was there an entire furnace servicing and duct work and cleaning and all this kind of stuff? Or maybe here's an opportunity for us to have a conversation about changing a procedure. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy furnace filters for every one of my properties, every one of them, just so the tenant can, because quite honestly, the tenant should be replacing it. But if the issue is they don't have it, let's just buy an inventory of furnace filters, leave 4 in every unit, okay? Or how about when your rental agent is going and filling, and if there's a vacancy, have the rental agent just go check and look at it and just, oh, this one's clean, dirty, boom, boom, fire it in. It'll take 7 minutes. Okay. So let's just talk about the procedure on that as opposed to getting upset and, firing the property manager and, scorched earth and fire and brimstone and, just
being that deep, bad landlord.
Right. So you're not going to be the heavy on this. You're going to just be a nice guy, right? And you're going to just make sure you have that conversation with your property manager. So ask the questions line by line. Property taxes and insurance. This is one of those ones that sometimes, especially let's talk insurance first. Insurance is one of those ones you should have an insurance review quite often because new players come in the marketplace, new policies. Maybe your deductible should change, all that kind of stuff. So, every year, if not every 2 years, you should be having an insurance audit about what you're doing. Property tax is one of those ones in some cases can yield fruit, in some cases it can. But here's the thing is, take a look at your valuations of your properties. Now, if you're in a marketplace that has perceivedly gone down in value over the past little while since February to now in the marketplace, make note of what your property taxes were and get a comp and a comparable analysis done, from the summer where it was at. And next year when your property taxes come out and you get your statement of your assessments of the property values, if they're out of whack, appeal them. Go and appeal them. You just never know. I had one, so quick story time here. I'll keep this one quick because it is a long story. And honestly, I think it was probably 7 years we appealed every single year. And I'm not going to get into the backstory. But eventually, after 7 years, we appealed and we got our property taxes on an apartment building that a group of us owned. We got our property taxes almost cut in half after 7 years of doing it. Okay? So it can bear fruit eventually over some time. Okay, so here's the thing is, next one is maintenance, utility, service providers. Tighten down on the maintenance, tighten down, like don't cut out maintenance, just tighten down on the maintenance. Utilities, go back to your utility providers. Are there other options out in the marketplace? Service providers. There was one time when I was with one of my property managers. Things were getting really, really tight. And this was in the 07, 08 timeframe. And rents, in my marketplace had dropped. In some cases, they were like 30% drops, like $300. I was getting $1,300 in rent, and they went down to like $995 over a short period of time. And that completely sucked all the cash flow out of everything. And I had a conversation with my property manager, and I said, look, the water is coming in the boat. I can't bail it out as fast as it's coming in. I want to keep working with you. I really do. I want to keep hiring you as my property manager, but I can't afford it at this moment. And they came back and said, well, Russ, would it help if we were able to give you 6 months of free property management until you can get this, that? And I was just like, I was so grateful. I had a little tear in my eye at the time. And I kept that property manager on for probably another 7 to 10 years after that. Right? Because of just what they did. But I had that conversation with them to find out if there was an opportunity of something of working with their service providers. Okay, so next one here I'm going to share with you is maybe, sometimes I wouldn't highly recommend this always, but maybe there's an opportunity for you to self-manage. Like, think about it in some cases. If you have a property and the property is tenanted and you have that tenant under the lease for the next year, maybe there's an opportunity for you to take back the management. Maybe you were paying 10% of the gross to that. You can potentially, let's say rent was $3,000. So is that $300 plus GST? What are we, $315 a month? You're able to save. Now, don't get me wrong. There's pros and cons. You're going to have to probably find a rental agent. You're probably going to have to find a handy person. You're probably going to have to find some people there. But you may have to take your management back. This may be the time that you just roll up the sleeves, get your hands a little bit dirty, and do the work. Get into doing with the property management there as well. So that's one there. The next one after that would be, here's a strategy that my business partner and I are doing for people that are, if they're coming in and they're buying new properties, and what they're doing is they're building in property management into the purchase cost. So maybe, let's say property management is $7,000 for the year. No, $3,500 for the year. You bundle in $7,000 into the purchase price. At closing, that $7,000 go to the property manager. You build it into the mortgage at that time. And then what you do is you now have free property manager for 24 months until then maybe in 24 months, the rents go up. And then when the property management comes back on at that time, then you're able to absorb it. So just a thought process. But really the key thing when it comes to managing your costs is to plan and then implement. Look at it literally line by line, but more importantly, do something about it. That's the key thing. Hey, that was a lot of fun. Sure hope you enjoyed this segment from a recent podcast episode. Only a couple simple next steps from here. Number one, down here will be a link to subscribe so you don't miss any more episodes. And if you're interested in watching more segments from the podcast, click up here. And if you'd like to watch the full episode, there's a playlist for you down here. So enjoy.